All right, it's 1 o'clock. It's a little bit after. I apologize. I'm trying to make this work on Facebook Live. I think it's working. But we are going to begin with today's live class. It's Friday, December 20th. Everyone's probably super busy getting ready for Christmas or New Year's or traveling. But thank you for tuning in if you're here. So in case you're new around here, I'm Megan, and I am the creator of Hip Stitch Academy. I also have a sewing studio in Hoboken, New Jersey. I have been teaching alongside some other instructors who help me do it. We've been teaching sewing to kids and adults for about the last 15 years or so. I hate saying that because it makes me feel super old. But it is my story and I'm getting old. Anyway, I'm so glad that you're here, and I'm so glad that you found this little community of Hip Stitch Academy. I started it about 3 years ago. Slowly but surely. And I did it because I wanted to meet other people like you who teach sewing. And I've met a ton of people, and I love that. But I've also found in the process that I really love helping other people do this, grow their business, start their business. Literally, I was teaching a class, actually helping one of the other instructors last night because they had a big project and everyone really wanted to finish. So I went in and I helped everybody cut some backpacks, and was talking to another student who loves coming to our studio, but she has to drive pretty far. And she was saying like, oh, is anybody open? Do you know any studios in Bergen County? Which is a county near where we are. And I said, no, but I'm working on it. And I was telling her about how I'm trying to, just encourage more people to get out there and teach sewing. So if you didn't know it already, I do post free content over on the Sewing Teacher blog at Hip Stitch Academy website. That's hipstitch.co/blog. Tons of content over there. Post something new at least every week. Lately, I've been going a little nuts, so there's probably 2 per week in the last month or so. So if you haven't spent any time over there, check it out. Every time we do one of these, it's going to get a post. The posts from the last 2 are already up there, so if you missed them, you can go back and watch them there. Okay, and not to mention I've been doing this for 3 years, like I said, so there's tons of content from the last 3 years over there as well. Okay, so hopefully that helps your business. So let's see. I am going to continue to do these live classes once a week. I have a schedule all the way till the end of February, teaching on different topics that I've listed there. If you've got topics that you really are like dying to hear from me on, let me know what they are. Shoot me an email or just put it over in the comments of this class. I can read those. So yeah, I'm doing that every week. But I also wanted to mention that I do personal coaching. So if you're looking for something a little bit more one-on-one, you have specific business problems that you want to tackle, I love helping people with like specific problems that they're encountering, or if they just need some accountability. I love coaching people one-on-one to help grow their business and meet certain goals. So, just head over to the website as well. I've got a page on there for all the information on personal coaching. I am assuming because we're at the end of 2019, it's kind of the time of year that people are thinking about and talking about all their goals for the coming year. And I know I'm I've got some pretty big goals that I'm trying to accomplish both in my sewing studio and in Hip Stitch Academy. And I hope that that kind of rubs off on you guys as well. And like I said, if you need some help, just staying accountable for these goals, I'm here to help. It's definitely one of my favorite times of year because of this. I love the possibility of, what's the new thing that, my business, what goals am I going to reach in 2020? How can I improve from what I did last year? And right now I just feel super pumped about getting better for 2020. Maybe it's because it's 2020 and that just sounds cool. It's crazy to think about. Anyway, I pondered a little bit about, what my sewing business has looked like in these last 15 years. And I guess that's sort of something that I do at this time of year too. And I kind of look back and look at my revenues, streams and sales for the year, and has it improved, and what significant things have happened. So I encourage you to do that as well. If you've been teaching classes for a while, look back at what went on in 2019 and how does it compare to 2018 if you were in business then. But take some time to think about that. It's a great time of year for doing that. Okay, so again, if you want that coaching, sorry, I put the link here and I just saw it. It's hipstitch.co/personal coaching. Okay, so you might be wondering why I'm doing live classes and maybe not videos. I don't know. I guess the main thing is I just love, the possibility of actually interacting with you. I love knowing that somebody's out there watching, even if it's not that many of you when it's actually happening live. I'm okay with that. But there are some of you that are there and you're listening. And it's cool to know that wherever you are in the world at 1 p.m. Eastern on Friday, December 20th, we're all kind of hanging out. And if you're watching this in the replay, that's awesome too. Maybe next week you can join us live. But I love the whole live aspect of it. I guess I'm used to it too. I teach sewing classes. I show up at my studio at a certain time. The students show up. We get together, we're together, and everybody learns a new skill. And unfortunately, you all can't come to Hoboken, New Jersey and meet me for a class. So this is the next best thing, I think. So I hope you can continue to join me. I've got the schedule posted up on the website as well, hipstitch.co/video classes. There's a new one every week. They always happen at 1 p.m. Eastern time. I'm on the East Coast, so it's 1 p.m. my time, just trying to pick a time that, is consistent, that is before the rush of after school classes or before evening classes and not on the weekend. I tried to kind of think about it in that way. But it's a different day every week. So hopefully if somebody's got a standing appointment on Tuesdays, they can make it when it's not on Tuesday. All right, so yes, if you're attending live, there is a chat function over here, and I believe you can just click on it at the bottom and type something. If you have a question as I'm going, type it, and I will do my best to answer it as we go, or maybe I'll do that at the end. But please, and if you want to introduce yourself and say hello, that's cool too. I'd love to know who's out there. All right, cool. Let's jump into the class topic for today. We're going to be talking about a bunch of different things, but they all relate to social media content generation. Now, I'm guessing if you're like me, you have a love-hate relationship with social media. It can be a giant distraction, but it also can be really fun and interesting and an amazing way to keep up with people in your life that you don't see on a regular basis. You know, maybe you find yourself scrolling through it when you're bored, or maybe you're going through it and you're only following other sewing studios and you're using it as inspiration for getting new class ideas. That's always a really cool reason to use social media. But today we're going to talk about it in terms of how we're using it, our own business accounts, to grow our own businesses, right? Okay. And I'm guessing maybe sometimes you struggle with what to post, because I know that I do. I have an instructor who helps me with my Instagram, and I know she sometimes struggles with what to post, but we try to be consistent. We try to make one daily post a day. And I'm going to talk about kind of ways that we figure out how to come up with new content to post and to keep it interesting, and why we post some of the things that we do. So, yes, the social media struggle is definitely real, but hopefully my little lesson is going to help you spark some new ideas and methods for coming up with more ideas to post. Okay, so specifically, here is what we're talking about. Number one is we're going to be identifying and setting your social media goals. So figuring out what we're trying to do from our social media. I think that's really important. We're going to talk about the 80-20 rule of social media that apparently is changing all the time. And then we're going to be talking about planning your social media content, planning that out ahead of time. We're going to be talking about using a content calendar tool. So I've got a freebie for you, a little PDF printable that's going to help you schedule out your own social media. Get that all to you. We're going to be talking about scheduling our social media content ahead of time and not doing, spending a half an hour a day coming up with one post. It's a lot faster and more efficient if you're doing it ahead of time. We're going to be talking about hashtags and how to use them, why to use them, and how to not be annoying with your hashtags. And then we're also going to be talking about a little bit about engaging with your social media followers and your fans. So to start, let's identify and set some social media goals for your coming year. And I was thinking about kind of what some of our goals are, so I'm going to share that with you, and you can decide of these things which are the most important for you. The first one that came to mind is increasing brand awareness. And I think that's the biggest, I think that's what social media is the best at, is brand awareness. Maybe it's not specific to get people to sign up, but it's a great way to increase your brand awareness. And what that means is maybe it's having the goal of getting your studio well known in your area, wherever you are in the world, letting people around you know that you exist, that you teach sewing classes, and that people are aware of your business, your expertise in your specific area. You want to ideally get them interested in what you do and then sign up. But first off, it's making them aware of you. Okay, so the second really important goal, I think, of social media, and I'm not certain how, there's not a real great way to measure this, but the goal is to generate more people signing up for your sewing classes. So since we all teach sewing, the product that we sell is sewing classes. I think that's a major goal that we all have to keep in the back of our head when we're scheduling and posting on social media. You want to get more people in the seats at your sewing studio taking your classes. And we're all striving for that. So definitely make this a goal in the forefront of your mind for social media. Let's see, another goal I think about when posting to social media is increasing the engagement in my social media community. So what that means, it's like basically, getting past customers, getting people who might be interested, getting those fans and followers to engage with you and to kind of become more familiar with you and know who you are and want to come in person with you and take a class, right? So increasing your community engagement. And some of the ways you can do that in your social media is maybe by asking for some feedback. Or maybe in your content, you can ask specific sewing questions, or you can kind of engage with them and get them to engage with you about what's going on. And in turn, they become more interested in what you're doing. Okay, another goal that I found was important for us is growing our audience. And I think that this seems like a pretty worthy goal of your social media content, but you don't want to make it the be all end all goal. I think that tends to happen a lot because when you log into Facebook or you log into Instagram, it's very clear that the metric of who's following you and who's into what you're doing is right there in your face. And so then it goes into your brain and you're like, oh, I need more followers. I need to grow my audience. And yes, you want to grow your audience, but you also, I think some of the other goals are a little bit more important. So keep that in mind when you are, when you're setting up your social media, that growing your audience is maybe not as important as getting someone interested in a class and actually taking a class, right? Okay. I'm sure you guys can kind of know what I'm talking about too. Like people get obsessed with followers and social media, and you're just like, what are you? I don't know about you. If I know people who just have Instagram or just have social media and they're not necessarily even selling something, they're just sort of, the point of doing it is kind of an ego boost of how many followers can I get, which is great. If that's what you're into and that's what makes you happy, like more power to you. But we've got to think about our goal of getting people into our sewing classes. So keep that in mind, please. Okay. And I think one of the other last goals of your social media is increasing the traffic to your website. So ideally, you have your classes posted on your website, right? And then you want your social media to get people over to that website so they can see your class list, they can register, they can ask questions, they can see who's teaching on Tuesday, they can figure out how to get their kids signed up. Whatever it is, you want to get them over to your website or wherever you have your classes listed. So I think thinking about your social media in terms of having some links in your social media posts is also important. Unfortunately, not all forms of social media allow you to have links, but definitely in the ones that do, say for instance Facebook, you can always include a link in anything you post on Facebook. Do so, include a link, get people over to your website. And then say, for instance, on social media, on Instagram, where you're not allowed to post a link in your post, utilize that profile link, right? And there's ways you can edit the profile link so it corresponds with whatever you're posting. If you're posting about a jeans class that you're having, and that's the thing you want to get people to sign up for, you can post that link directly to the class page of where you sign up. and then keep changing that link. Or there's a really cool tool that you'll notice I use on my Instagram called Linktree, and it lets you set up a link where there's different sections that's like really mobile friendly. So if someone's on Instagram, they click on the link to your profile, it goes over to this Linktree kind of long, narrow, skinny menu of whatever you want it to be. So maybe you list certain things that you're promoting in social media lately. Anyway, that's been a really, really helpful tool in getting people over to the website. So I wanted to share that with you. And if you haven't followed our social media for the studio, we are just at maverydesigns.com. Or no, sorry, at Mavery Designs. That's our social media. It's Facebook and Instagram. Okay, moving right along. When you are determining your social media content strategy, you're going to I want you to like write down 1 or 2 of these goals that are going to be your main goals for what you're doing in 2020, and kind of focus on those 2 or 3 things every time you post something, right? All right. Moving on, I want to talk about the 80-20 rule when it comes to posting on social media and posting in terms of like a business, right? So when we have a business and our goal is to get people to sign up for sewing classes, we can't make every single post, hey, sign up for this class, hey, sign up for that class, because nobody wants that. Nobody's going to follow, no one's going to stick around. However, I do think that there's a time and a place for it. So the rule that's sort of pretty well known in the social media content world is the 80-20 rule. And that means 80% of your social media posts should educate or entertain or be fun or show off, something cool that's happening, but not sell something. And then 20% of your posts can directly promote your business. So it's like 1 out of 5 posts is generally a good rule for posting. And, I was reading up on it today, actually, because I, had kind of known this for a while, and we keep it as, we try to follow this rule when we're posting. But I was reading up on it today, and I guess, in general, it's not the cardinal rule anymore. People or the social media gurus, I guess, I don't know, have decided that, based on what it is your goals are, like I just kind of talked about, that can be different, because sometimes nobody's got, they're just posting on social media and it's not necessarily to sell anything. It's just sort of to show maybe that someone's like a cool human being, and they're just trying to be a little bit more personal. So maybe that's not always the rule. But anyway, I think for a sewing studio and for what we do, the 80-20 rule works pretty well. All right. So as far as planning out your social media content for 2020, I think it kind of goes back to the class that I did a couple of weeks ago. You're planning out your class schedule for 2020. Let's make your social media sort of correspond to that, and not promoting just your classes, but taking a look at what you have coming up in the future and planning out a content schedule for social media that follows what you're doing as far as in your classes. So in general, try to plan out your social media ahead of time, and not just, every day, like think about, oh, what am I going to post today? And I'm not saying that I don't do this quite often, but one of my goals for 2020 is to be more planned and to be more thoughtful in my social media strategy. And so hopefully by kind of putting, you know, some research into this and to by talking about it today, I'm going to do it and you're going to do it too. So I have made for you a content calendar tool, and I'm going to try very hard to share that on the screen right now. So it's basically just for January, and they're just social media prompts. Hold on, let me see if I can do this. I think I'm doing it. I can't really tell. Oh, no, I'm about to. Okay, there we go. So it's a PDF that looks very similar to the class schedule calendar that I shared with you. But instead of room for you to draw or to write out what classes you have, there are prompts on each day of January for what you might post on social media. And, you know, the day of, you know, what the prompt is on that day really doesn't have a ton to do with that day, except maybe on this one, there's a new, you know, I suggested a New Year's message on January, but they're just things to sort of start getting you thinking about what thing you can share on that day. So you're not just completely drawing a blank. And they're all sewing teacher and sewing studio related. So, you know, you'll see one for each week is going to be promoting something that you're doing, but the rest of them are just sort of sharing content and getting a little bit personal, but not crazy personal. And when in doubt, find a cool sewing meme that you can share that always gets some good engagement as well. So I'm going to send this all out to you. I'm sorry I haven't done that yet. But what I'll do is just send this an email, and then if you're watching this in a recording, it'll be in the notes section or in the blog post. You'll be able to download it and use it. So there's this part, the January social media prompts, but then, let me see if I can scroll down. There we go. You also have a little spot for your own content. So you can kind of think about what image you want to use, what your headline might be. Do this a week at a time, a month at a time, and just get it done. You know, write it all out and then have it done. Get in the zone. Like for me, I like to get up early. First thing, I drink some coffee, and then that's the time of day where I kind of think, you know, my thinking work, my writing work, and that's a good time to do something like this. All right, so like I said, I will send that to you. And now we're back, I think, off of the share. Okay, so from that, then you're going to plan that out, but then I want you to schedule the posts, right? By scheduling your posts ahead of time, you're going to limit the amount of time that you're actually spending on social media. And Facebook, I know for a fact, allows you to schedule posts ahead of time right in their interface. So you can get on there, schedule certain posts for certain dates, certain times, and you can do like a week at a time, a month at a time, however far ahead you want to get. Or if you want to get real fancy, there's all kinds of services out there. There's Hootsuite, Buffer. I personally use Buffer. And then I keep hearing a lot about Later. And I believe, you know, a lot of these are free to an extent. So check them out. I don't know exactly all the policies, but I think you can use all of them at least a little bit for free. And then as you get fancier, add more accounts or whatever their pricing strategy is, you might have to pay. But, you know, for me, I think it's worth it so that I don't have to, I can schedule it all in one place too. I like being able to schedule Instagram, schedule Facebook, and a lot of times they'll be the same things. I don't know, people have different opinions about sharing the same content across multiple social media outlets, but we tend to share the same things. Anyway, please take that time going forward, and I'm going to make a promise to do that as well, because I can get in the mode of being really good at that. And then my engagement goes up, my, you know, I think the amount of people that are signing up because of social media actually goes up when I sit down and plan it out. But when I don't, I feel like the social media is just not as effective. So let's commit to each other that we're going to do that in 2020. All right. So hashtags. I think this is the last thing that I'm actually going to talk about. I think everybody knows what hashtags are, but maybe we don't know how to use them. I don't know. They're basically just a common word or phrase that you can include in your social media posts so that people who don't already follow you or don't already see your posts might be able to find what you're posting. So the point of them is to kind of include catchphrases that might be helpful to potential followers, potential customers, potential students, right? So with sewing businesses like ours, try including some hashtags for things that relate to the area around where you are, because I think the thing with social media is like you can have, you know, hashtag sewing classes, hashtag sewing camp, kids sewing camp, whatever that is, but that's going to give you, or people are going to find you all over the world. But if you can figure out if maybe in your local city, there are certain things that, you know, like I tend to use the hashtag Hoboken Kids a lot, Hoboken Sews. I use that one as kind of like our signature hashtag. And I try to get people to use that as well when they're posting photos of their sewing projects, or if they're in class, I try to get people to use the hashtag Hoboken Sews because that's the city that we're in. But maybe there's a popular blog and they use some hashtags quite frequently. You can start using those to get noticed by people who don't already know what you're doing, but are in your local area, right? So you have to kind of be strategic like that so that you're getting people to see you that could actually come and take a class from you, right? All right. So let's see. One of the things that I like to do with hashtags, so you're not having to kind of think of them all the time, is maybe use the notes section of your phone or the notes section of your computer or whatever app you like to use, is get all your hashtags in there and just cut and paste the ones that apply to your posts, right? So you're not writing them out every single time. You're going in there, you're grabbing the ones that apply to the post, and you're posting them maybe a little bit below the headline for a social media post. A couple of rules that I think are important to use when doing hashtags. Don't use too many. It just starts to get really messy. Like maybe 6 or 7 at a time is plenty. And maybe, like I said, create some space. You can use your notes tool to create space, and then by cutting and pasting it into the social media, the spaces will stay there, and then your hashtags will be kind of below your post so it doesn't look all messy. People can read it. Your hashtags are there so people can find you, but it's not all mixed in with your headline, right? And the community hashtag as well. Think of something that maybe can be specific to your studio by and encouraging your students. Maybe have a sign in your studio, hey, tag your pictures of your sewing class project with this hashtag when you put it up, or ask them to even just tag your studio. Any way you can get other people to start promoting what you are doing on social media is a win, right? All right. No, I wasn't. Hashtags is not the last thing that we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about one more thing, engagement, right? So if you're scheduling your posts, what can happen is you tend to maybe not look at it as much, which is good for your, I don't know, just for the amount of time that you're spending on Instagram. If you tend to waste a lot of time looking at Instagram or Facebook, maybe you've solved that problem by scheduling your posts ahead of time. But then if you're not going back and engaging with those posts, people will wonder where you are, right? So you do need to just dedicate some time, maybe every day or every other day, but limit the amount of time. Like put a timer on your phone and be like, okay, 10 minutes, I'm engaging, and then I'm getting off, right? You don't want to spend tons of time over there, but you also have to make sure that if customers are asking you questions or commenting, you want to keep engaging with them, because then your posts are going to get seen by more people. So don't forget to respond to comments. Don't forget to engage with other things on your social media, because then people will start seeing you. Engagement is definitely key. And that about wraps it up, ladies and gentlemen. Today we talked about a ton of stuff for social media content generation. Now, here is the thing. I would love for you to share this with your people. So share it, screenshot it, put it up on your social media so that other people can find out about it. The goal is to help as many people teach sewing as possible, and then more people learn how to sew. So if you could spread the word, I would be most grateful. And if you like something, let me know about it. Write me an email, post a comment, whatever. I would love to hear from you. And if you're not already subscribed to our email list, you can get on that over at hipstitch.co. Or if you're just into the videos, head on over to YouTube. All these videos go up on YouTube. So if you miss one and you're subscribed, you'll get a notification. Hey, we just posted. And you won't miss anything that we do. All right. I will get this one up hopefully within, I don't know. Tonight, I'm having all my sewing instructors over for dinner. So that's what I'm doing after this. I'm going down and starting to cook. And it's actually a really busy weekend. On Sunday, we have our annual holiday open house where everyone's coming in. It's like a free sewing workshop to make ornaments. Doesn't have to be a Christmas ornament. It can be any ornament that you like, but we're going to have lots of festive things going on. So I'll be baking for that this afternoon as well. So that being said, I don't know that this will get posted right away, but I assume by like Monday or Tuesday, I'll have it up there. So keep looking for it. It's always going to be over in the Sewing Teacher blog, hipstitch.co/blog. And there is no class next week because it is Christmas week, and I will be spending some time with family for Christmas, and I'm guessing that you will too, but we'll be back the following week, Monday, December 30th, 1 p.m. Eastern, and we're going to be talking about, you guessed it, goals for 2020. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So until then, happy holidays. And I hope you have a great week. We'll see you on Monday the 30th. So goodbye for now. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in a little over a week.